it is hard to know what the implications are, like predictive of what we've seen in terms of Mamdani, what we've seen in terms of Spanberger, what we've seen in terms of Sherrill and the Virginia State House and Georgia statewide elections. Like all of that, I think, people can say like, this looks like a pretty good situation for Democrats in midterm. We can't know. But I think that's a fair assessment. If we're making that assessment, Democratic lawmakers are making that assessment. Republican lawmakers are making that assessment. Stephen Miller and Donald Trump and Russ Vought are making that assessment. They have been trying to make sure that Republicans win these midterm elections. They're trying to gerrymander. California just went with Proposition 50. California is going to mitigate some of that gerrymandering. Maryland might mitigate some of that gerrymandering. We may see it in other states. They have a notion now of like how over the median Democrats have to perform, and they're performing that way, at least now. So their level of panic is going to increase. If Democrats take the House or Democrats take the Senate, either one, they can start having hearings. They can start interfering with ICE. They can start interfering. I mean, they can't do everything, but they can build upon this. They have a platform. And so Trump is terrified, I believe. And I think we're going to see federal troops in New York. I think we're going to see federal troops in other blue cities sooner than we would have and with more force, because they want to create a chaotic environment. I don't know if that will necessarily work, but that's what their theory is. And Trump wants to get this shutdown over with. And so he's been telling them, like, get rid of the filibuster.
But without compromising. He wants to get the shutdown over with, but he doesn't want Democrats to have any input. It's part of what the strategy of Mike Johnson sending all those House Republicans on paid vacation for that long was twofold. One, it was because he wants to avoid the Epstein files and he doesn't want to have to swear in Grijalva to force a vote on that. But perhaps even more importantly, within the context of what we're talking about, he wanted to signal that the negotiation's over. The bill that the House passed is what the Senate needs to eat fully. And if they don't pass it, then we're just going to keep the government shut down. But it's untenable right now.
Right. And he knows that he can't show any weakness.
Yeah.
If the Republicans even negotiate this stuff and don't screw over the Democrats, it's basically showing some weakness, and they're going to fill that vacuum. Here we go.
It's time for Republicans to do what they have to do, and that's terminate the filibuster. It's the only way you can do it. And if you don't terminate the filibuster, you'll be in bad shape. We won't pass any legislation. There'll be no legislation passed for 3.25. We have 3.25 years, so that's a long time. But when they can't do an extension, and John, I think they've done an extension every single time they've ever been asked forever. This is the first time they haven't done an extension. Extensions are supposed to be easy, but if they won't do an extension, they won't do any bill, even a simple bill. And we should do our own bills. We should get out. We should do our own bills. We should open up. We should start tonight with the country's open. Congratulations. Then we should pass voter ID. We should pass no mail-in voting. We should pass all the things that we want to pass to make our elections secure and safe, because California is a disaster. Many of the states are disasters. But can you imagine when they vote almost unanimously against voter ID? All we want is voter ID. You go to a grocery store, you have to give ID. You go to a gas station, you give ID. But for voting, they want no voter ID.
He said this before.
Okay, but let's just be clear here.
So
first off, there's a couple of things. Trump just admitted that it's Republicans who are standing in the way of any type of legislation going forward, right? They have the ability to get rid of the filibuster. They can do this. And then he says, we're going to pass our agenda. What is our agenda? Nothing, except for trying to ensure that we can win the midterms.
Exactly.
I mean, literally nothing. This is also why it would be good for the Republicans to get rid of the filibuster, because Democrats will never do it on their own. They're too cowardly.
Yep.
They're too cowardly. They're too cowardly. And Republicans are afraid of getting rid of the filibuster, too, because once you get rid of the filibuster, you actually, as a political party, have to own your decisions. You have to own them.
And the Republicans don't want to get rid of the filibuster because it benefits them disproportionately. We've said this before. You know, under Biden, there were at one point 50 Democratic senators and 50 Republican senators. And the 50 Democratic senators represented 40 million more people than the 50 Republican senators, because Montana has the same number of senators as California does. So it is undemocratic in the construction of the institution. And then you put on another layer of undemocracy of the filibuster needing a 60 vote threshold
And let's
for
be
most
clear.
legislation. Yeah.
The first thing you're talking about, that Montana and California have the exact same amount of representation in the Senate, is constitutional. The filibuster
Is not.
Is just habit. That's basically it.
Right.
It's
And they're
just
looking at a guy with historic unpopularity right now, telling them to give up their major strategic advantage in the Senate because he wants to ram his bill through and doesn't want to have to negotiate with Democrats to save their own ass, by the way. He's worried about the midterms because...
That's it.
That's it.
He doesn't care about anything else.
But rigging it, though, or intimidating his way because he doesn't want to cave. But the problem for him is that if these ACA subsidies, they let them expire... every Republican is going to be up for re-election in the fall in 2026 in the House. They could get wiped out over that. So, I mean, he's putting them in a horrible position, which is actually
Good.
Good, yeah.
And I think that, you won't see Democrats saying, well, he just admitted that the Republicans, if they don't pass any legislation, it's a function of the Republicans. They have the ability to get rid of the filibuster. And let's be clear, they've done it 3 times already this year. They did it to roll back cafe standards, I think it was, in California. There was 2 other times that they literally nuked the filibuster. And they could do it here. And if they do, though, that means Democrats have a license now to do it.
Yeah.
And Chuck Schumer's very afraid of that. There are Democrats who are afraid of that because you don't want like you need a built-in excuse. That's why Cuomo created the IDC, is because he needed a cover as to why he wasn't signing off on progressive legislation because it would interfere with the donors. Let's get rid of the filibuster. I am with Donald Trump on this. That's the thing. I don't have Trump derangement syndrome. I agree with Donald Trump. Let's get rid of the filibuster and allow the Republicans to do what they're going to do.
Bipartisanship.
Bipartisanship.
You're so reasonable.
I am so reasonable. I have no Trump derangement syndrome.
Why can't these unreasonable corporate centrist Democrats get on board with the bipartisan push to get rid of the filibuster? It's just crazy to me.
Here's Mike Johnson now. They're getting worried.
Making your point from earlier.
They're getting worried. They're starting to realize. And look, I don't think the issue is impeachment. I think they know this. They're saying impeachment because that gets their people a little bit agitated. But I don't think the Democrats are going to come in and impeach Donald Trump. Why would you at this point? Unless you had maybe both houses. But even then, I think what we're going to do is they're just going to actually do some real genuine investigation hearings that can become like shows, incidentally, which they should have done during the first Trump administration, but Pelosi didn't want to get too involved in it. Richie Neal didn't want to get involved in it. They're all cowards.
But Jamie Raskin, if he's head of that committee after 2026, oh boy.
Yep.
I told him this morning what we've talked about many times and what I've said here before. The president is on the ballot in 2026. President Trump is on the ballot next fall. Because if we lose the majority of the Republicans, the common sense people here who are doing the job for the American people, if we lose the majority in the House and this radical element of the Democrat Party were able to take over, we've already seen that movie. They will try to end the Trump administration. He won't have 4 years, he'll have only 2, because they will move to impeach him probably on the first day of the new Congress in January 2027. And they will try to systematically unwind all the important reforms that we've done for the American people, to lower costs, to have a better quality of living, on health care, to increase access and quality of care. We are the party that is doing that, and the president needs 4 years to complete his agenda, not just 2. So he is in a very real sense on the ballot. He's fiercely committed to us winning. He is going to help. He's offered to do rallies and the teletown halls and all the things. He's sent out a huge round of endorsements of incumbents, Republican incumbents, just over the last few days. He is very much engaged, very dialed in, and he understands the stakes. President Trump is on the ballot in 2026, and we're looking forward to that contest.
I'm looking forward to having him campaign in every one of those frontline Republican House districts.
Yeah, why was he not
Let's have him
campaigning in
campaign.
New Jersey?
Yeah, let's have him
So weird.
visit Mike Lawler a couple of times.
Yeah.
They can pal around. They can go to a diner.
Chitterelli was, very much in the Trump vein, leaning into immigration, but seemingly odd that the president of the United States didn't want to use his bully pulpit to help some of the candidates. It's almost like he's more of a liability.
I don't like his name. I just don't like his name.
I'll do a teleconference.
Chitterelli? I don't think so.
Yeah.
You should change his name to Trump.
Trumparelli. How's that? How's this? You call yourself Trumparelli. So awesome. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.